Images circulating online appear to show heavy damage to a U.S. Air Force E-3 Sentry at Prince Sultan Air Base, but the aircraft's fate has not been independently confirmed. The aircraft appears to be a U.S. Air Force E-3 from the Tinker-based 552nd Air Control Wing, though the exact tail number has not been officially confirmed. Based on the visuals, the rear section housing the rotating radar dome sustained the most severe impact. That section contains the AN/APY-2 surveillance radar, the system that gives the E-3 its ability to track hundreds of targets across thousands of square miles simultaneously. The damage has not been independently verified. The Pentagon has not confirmed the loss of the aircraft, but the images, if authentic, represent the destruction of one of the most strategically valuable planes in the U.S. Air Force inventory. The E-3 Sentry is not a fighter. It is not a bomber. It is the eyes of the air campaign. It sees the battlefield from above and tells every other aircraft where to go. Losing one does not reduce firepower. It reduces awareness. And in a war where missiles arrive from multiple directions, awareness is the asset that keeps everything else alive. The IRGC claimed responsibility under what it called Wave 84 of Operation True Promise 4, describing the attack as the second phase of strikes on Prince Sultan. Iranian state media said a coordinated barrage of solid and liquid-fueled missiles, along with drones, successfully penetrated the base's defenses. The IRGC claimed the strike hit the headquarters of U.S. aerial refueling operations, causing destruction and severe damage to multiple large aircraft and key logistical infrastructure. Iran released satellite images showing what the IRGC said were damaged zones and destroyed KC-135 refueling aircraft. Those claims come from IRGC statements and Iranian state media and have not been independently confirmed. But the IRGC is now claiming it has hit Prince Sultan at least 3 times in the war, each time targeting the aircraft that the U.S. air campaign depends on to function. Prince Sultan has now been hit repeatedly, with Reuters and AP reporting U.S. casualties and aircraft damage across multiple strikes in the past week. Army Sergeant Benjamin Pennington, 26, was killed in a March 1st attack on the same base. Prince Sultan Air Base is no longer a rear area logistics hub. It is a target that Iran has hit repeatedly, with increasing accuracy and with results that are now visible from space. The base sits 60 miles from Riyadh. It is operated by the Royal Saudi Air Force and used by the 378th Air Expeditionary Wing. Every strike on it forces the question of whether the aircraft parked there should be dispersed, hardened, or moved entirely. The threat is not limited to Prince Sultan. Saudi air defenses intercepted multiple drones heading for Riyadh on Friday. Officials confirmed at least 2 drones were shot down near the capital, marking the second interception in under an hour. Earlier, 3 drones were destroyed, 1 over Riyadh and 2 over the eastern province. Regional reporting said Saudi defenses faced fresh ballistic missile threats toward the Riyadh area, with some intercepted and others falling into Gulf waters. The exact breakdown has not been confirmed by top-tier outlets, but the trajectory tells the story. Ballistic missiles aimed at the capital of Saudi Arabia, not at a military base, not at an oil facility, at the city where the royal court sits, where the crown prince governs, and where 7 million people live. The war is no longer knocking at Saudi Arabia's doorstep. It arrived. Behind the scenes, the pressure on Riyadh is producing a shift. The Guardian reported that analysts warned Saudi Arabia is walking a tightrope, balancing cautious neutrality with growing calls for decisive action. Reports quoting sources say Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman has urged Trump to intensify the war on Iran, calling it a historic opportunity to reshape the region. Trump confirmed the relationship from his end. He called MBS a warrior and said Saudi Arabia has been excellent. He said the UAE has been excellent. He called Qatar incredible and noted that Qatar took a hit, a pretty bad hit. He described the Gulf states as fighting with us. That language is the closest any U.S. president has come to publicly describing the Gulf monarchies as co-belligerents in the war. Whether MBS wants that framing is a different question, but Trump just gave it to him on camera.
The Democrats broke the deal that we had. It was all done. Everything was fine. And then they just said, well, we're not going to pay anymore. And they hurt our country. And at a very difficult time because, you know, we are at, as they would say, a war. They call it a war. I call it a military operation. a very successful one, like successful like nobody's ever seen before. Hey, Venezuela was equally as successful. That was a great thing. No, the Democrats had a deal. It was a done deal, and then they said, well, we're not going to pay. And so a lot of people suffered over that and put our country in danger. You have another question? You haven't been here in a while.
Well, on Iran, can you give us any more sense of who exactly in Iran it is, either Woodcock, Bush, or others you're speaking with?
Yeah, we had, I hate to say this in front of these young people. They're not children. I spoke to most of them. They sound like adults to me, even though they are sort of children, right? They'll always be your children. But I hate to say it, but we killed all their leadership. And then they met to choose new leaders, and we killed all of them. And now we have a new group, and we can easily do that, but let's see how they turn out. We have really regime change. You know, this is a change in the regime because the leaders are all very different than the ones that we started off with that created all those problems. So this was, I think we can say, Jason, this is regime change, right?
What makes you trust them?
I don't trust anybody. I don't trust you. I mean, that's only because I know you. But if I didn't know you, I'd probably have more trust. But I don't trust anyone. Why do you say that? Why do you say what makes you trust? Do you think I trust them? I don't trust them.
Then why bother talking to them?
Because they're going to make a deal. They're going to make a deal. They did something yesterday that was amazing, actually. They gave us a present, and the present arrived today. And it was a very big present worth a tremendous amount of money. And I'm not going to tell you what that present is, but it was a very significant prize. And they gave it to us, and they said they were going to give it. So that meant one thing to me: we're dealing with the right people.
Is that nuclear related?
No, it wasn't nuclear related. It was oil and gas related. And it was a very nice thing they did. But what it showed me is that we're dealing with the right people. Because, you know, you don't know, because the leadership was killed, all gone. Khomeini, all gone, as the expression goes, the past supreme leader. And then the new supreme leader was racked up, at a minimum racked up pretty good, and everyone else was gone. And then many of the people in the third tier are gone. But we're dealing with a group of people that I think turn out, and the present, the gift they made to us was very significant, and they said they were going to do it, and it happened, and they're the only ones that could have done it. Jennifer?
Was it related to the Strait of Hormuz and the flow of...
Yeah, it was related to the flow and to the strait, yeah, it was.
Are you negotiating on who's going to control the strait from now on?
No, we'll have control of anything we want. Look, if we can end this without more lives being down, without knocking out $10 billion electric plants that are brand new and the apple of their eye, I'd like to be able to do that, you know. But they can't have certain things. I mean, you know the things. I don't have to go over the list, but again, it starts with no nuclear weapons, and they've agreed to that. There won't be any nuclear weapons. They're not going to have, and they're not going to have enrichment, any of those things. But look, I hate to say that we're in a very good bargaining position, and I hate to say that they're defenseless because, you know, until that last missile is fired, they have little power. But we are in about the best bargaining position. We're way ahead of schedule. And again, they have no Navy and they have no Air Force and they have no missile protection, and most of their missiles are gone. Most of their launches we've killed. You know, we've killed about 82% of their launches. So even if they had a missile, they can't launch it. We've been very we have the greatest military in the world. Nobody even comes close. We have the best military equipment in the world. Go ahead. Yeah.
President Trump, on a human level, how hopeful are you that this peace deal will work out? Like as a human,
On what?
On a human level, not as the President of the United States. How hopeful are you that this peace deal will work out with Iran?
You're talking about to end it? Well, I think we're going to end it. I can't tell you for sure. You know, I don't like to say this. We've won this. This war has been won. The only one that likes to keep it going is the fake news. I mean, the New York Times, you read the New York Times, it's like we're not winning a war where they have no Navy and they have no Air Force and they have no nothing. And we literally have planes flying over Tehran and other parts of their country. They can't do a thing about it. For instance, if I want to take down that power plant, that very big, powerful power plant, they can't do a thing about it. It's like, take me. That's all they can do. And yet, if you read the New York Times or if you watch ABC fake news or NBC fake news, you'd say it's a close battle. It's not a close battle. They're totally defeated. You know, we killed their Navy in, would you say 3 days, Pete? Gone. In fact, I was a little upset with Pete. I said, why didn't you save the ships? We could have used them, right? He said it's more fun shooting them down. But the Navy was wiped out in a very rapid order. Pretty impressive for you guys, you champion wrestlers, right? When you hear this stuff. But you don't, if you read the news, you don't hear this. You know, you read like, oh, they're doing wonderfully. They're doing terribly. They're wiped out militarily. They are dead.